Can we do that face like over like just keep it like like a boomerang in that face?
No, I don't do boomerangs.
That's an awesome boomerang.
You just get stuck and then it's like I'm just gonna keep top.
Welcome to another episode of Co-Founders. This is Alex Mont-Roses and we have
Lisa Mont-Roses.
All right, so what are we gonna get into today? I think year 2. We gotta keep the story continues. The saga continues.
The saga.
Year 2 of Moncord. All right. So you have definitely a better memory than I do. So I'm gonna let you start.
I don't know. The last 3 years have been a whirlwind. I don't know if I have a better memory.
So year
of
2,
it,
2017. Right.
Yeah, I think we made some big moves that year.
Okay.
In the sense of like changing up family structure. The whole business started because I was a stay-at-home mom, sort of.
Yeah.
And trying to continue to be a stay-at-home mom with a rapidly growing business, and it just was not succeeding. Like, it was chaos.
The business wasn't, or just in general?
Just in general.
Yeah.
Trying to find success in that where it wasn't so mushed together.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a very professional term?
Mushed
together.
I guess, yeah.
So I think it was right in the beginning of year 2 of Moncord, or towards the beginning of year 2. So we made the decision to put, first of all, it was only supposed to be Lillian because she was 3 and crazy. And I was juggling, trying to get her not to jump off of tables while checking in on appraisals. And
I know. And at the time, I'm in and out because of my corporate, kind of job and coming home at night and working on things and software and marketing and all that.
Yeah.
So it was tough. I do remember, I left. You I don't know how you ever worked from home, by the way. It was insane.
I don't know how I ever did either. I think I almost pulled my hair out most days. Like, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts. So, and I remember we went and saw a good friend of ours, and he had mentioned, he goes, we were kind of sharing our story around how we operate as a business, and we had the kids, and he's like, and we're like, oh, well, Lisa's at home with the kids while she works. And he's like, well, why don't you like daycare? And we're like, oh, well, we want to spend time with the kids. Which, by the way, doesn't even make sense because you're so focused on work. Like, you can't focus on the kids.
No, and it was actually funny because it was in that first year, I would typically hand my phone to Lillian and let her. Winston was too little. Like, he just slept and cried. But I would typically hand my phone to Lillian and let her watch YouTube or play games or whatever. And even one of our operations manager now, she still laughs about it because she called me pretty much every 3 or 4 days to say she wanted a job. Were we ready to hire her?
That's right. Yeah.
But she said there were multiple times she would get hung up on, like 4 or 5 times in a row. And she's like, should I call back? Like, I feel like this woman is ignoring me. And then come to find out it was Lillian.
Well, you do realize for about a whole year, I never talked to you on the phone because
you couldn't.
I had to literally email you in the subject line, call me. That's ridiculous. Okay.
Well, but
That's ridiculous.
But it was like I was trying to work, and it was kind of how I worked. Was the phone became
because I would
Lillian's
call,
babysitter,
and all of a sudden I knew it was Lillian because she was watching a show, and she knew how to hit end.
So she didn't.
2 seconds, end. No answers, no nothing. Just write the voicemail, and she didn't care.
She didn't because she was very busy watching Ryan's toy reviews.
She was
completely.
So when we had that conversation with our friend, and he had mentioned, it's probably time to start looking at doing daycare, and we were resistant because we're like, and I think we weren't looking at with full clarity of the situation, in the sense of, okay, our kids aren't, to your point, like their screen time is
out of control.
They're not getting like this attention that we thought we were going to be able to give them. And the whole, kind of aspect of, okay, I'm going to work from home because I'm going to spend time with my kids isn't a reality. It just doesn't exist.
Not for what we were doing.
Not for what we were doing. And yes, I do want to preface that. Not for what we were doing. But I think there's so many couples that believe that.
Well, and I think it was actually a really, really hard decision, and I remember agonizing over it internally. I don't know how much I agonized over it in conversations, but the whole point of me not selling real estate anymore was so that I would be home with the kids, and we would be the ones raising our kids and not putting them somewhere where somebody else was going to be raising them. And so it was actually a really, really tough decision, like knowing that something had to give. I mean, first of all, I wasn't parenting. I mean, not the way I wanted to. I wasn't spending quality time with the kids during the day when I was home with them. So it really boiled down to, it's either going to be the TV babysitting them and the TV raising them, or we're going to put them in an environment where they're surrounded by other kids and good quality teaching. Yeah. And good. I mean, it's teaching.
Yeah. And I think I think more than anything, the biggest takeaway apart from that was even in that discussion we had with our friend was like, okay, when we make this move, if we decided to do it, we were going to experience a line, that firewall between home and work that didn't really exist at the first couple years. It didn't exist because it was wake up, work, kids, work, kids. It was just it was ongoing. And now there was this opportunity to have a firewall to say, okay, I can have 100% focus on work, get more done through that time period, relieve the stress, because now the frustrations go away, the anxieties go away of like, oh, I better be hanging out with my kid while I'm trying to work. Just it's hard to do.
Yeah.
And then I think what I saw the biggest difference was when we did do the daycare. When we did do daycare, like it really changed. It took a while to see the change, but it was probably like 2 or 3 months. But the amount of anxiety that was relieved, although there was still a lot of it, it was pretty significant because now we were able to drop the kids off, pick them up, and when we picked them up, it was all right. We're going to go home. We got a good bulk of our day done already. Hang out with them, do dinner, put them to bed, and then wrap up the rest of the day.
Well, and I think something that just occurred to me as you're saying that is the pretending stopped. And what I mean by that is that there was always this pretending that I was fully present for whatever I was doing. So I was pretending I was a fully present mom when I was at home when I was with the kids. Or I was pretending I was a fully present business owner when the reality was I was a total poser.
You're a poser.
I mean, I remember doing consultation calls, hiding in a closet. And I don't even know if I should say this on the show, but it was the most absurd thing.
It was.
I was hiding in a closet in an office, pumping milk so that I could feed my baby when I got home, and I'm on a consultation call with my back against the door so nobody would open the closet door. What madness.
It's madness.
It was madness.
No, we've both experienced that.
Well, I know. I mean,
we'd wake up and run to a closet to take a call. I'm on conference calls and I'm like, I can't work from home. This is nuts. Oh,
it was insane.
Taking and conference calls from a laundry room with a closed door like a maniac.
It's crazy. So I think a lot of the pretending, we got to be 100% where we were. So, if we had a meeting, it wasn't shoving the kids somewhere, running to a meeting and coming back. Like we just got to be work, and then we just got to be mom and dad.
Was that our house has dead spots everywhere. So
oh my gosh.
From one dead spot hiding in a closet to another closet.
And you just have to turn your head a little bit to the right. Like, can you hear me now?
Oh, man. Those were the days. We don't really experience those days anymore.
No.
Not as much.
Not at all, I don't think. I mean, there's
a
line.
That was tough. That was probably enough to break a lot of people, I think.
I think it actually broke me, but I didn't have time to slow down to be broken. So I was like, it's okay. I'm like picking up pieces of me as I'm walking. I mean, it did though. But
did you turn like into were you kind of like step for a little bit? Did you kind of like put on?
I think so.
You did, huh?
Yes. I was tired.
Oh man. Well, now we can laugh a little bit about it.
Yeah.
Sort of. You're like, all those emotions are coming back, and you're like,
this is insane.
It was insane. It was.
So year 2.
Yeah, that was year 2. I think, apart from that change, which I think helped us tremendously, we also learned the power, which was interesting because, the business was growing, and here we are delegating or being the person that others leverage, and we're trying to now understand how do we also become good delegators.
Well, and I think it was in year 2 when we started talking about this, because our motto and our slogan for Moncord, which 100% we stand by it, is we're giving you back time to focus on what matters most.
Yeah.
And that's what we wanted to provide for people. And in that process, we had to learn how to provide that for somebody and still provide it for us, because it went away for us.
Yeah.
You know, we gave everybody time back to focus on what matters most, and we took all of their stuff on, so we couldn't focus on what matters most.
Right.
So I think year 2 was really a lot of that stepping back and saying, wait a minute, if we're going to live by this, we have to live by it for our clients, but we have to live by this.
Yeah.
And that's when I think we started focusing more on leverage and delegating.
Yeah, and we were able to, thankfully, that whole saying, lead with revenue. So we led with revenue, and we made our first couple hires, I think at that point, right? I mean, give or take.
We had a team of about 6 or 7 at that point.
Yeah, pretty quick, within 2 years, 6 or 7 people. Yeah.
By the second year, we were 6 or 7.
Yeah, and that helped us tremendously. Well, that's the only way we were going to be able to grow. We had to make those decisions to bring people on. And then getting, not only for the coordination side, but then the business the operation side, right? How do we start identifying ops managers and, who's going to lead training for the company? And that was, for me, that was an exciting time to kind of see things starting to unfold, coming from corporate America, right? You know what operations looks like, and then seeing it kind of in a small business start to kind of come together was pretty neat. And we're still in that, right? I mean, we're definitely not out of that.
But I think what we learned from that, every day is a learning lesson, but I think what we learned for sure from that time period was really, you don't have to do everything yourself. And I think you were always better about that, about knowing, like, I can't do all of this. I need somebody else to do X, Y, and Z. And you're very good about being clear about what people can do. And I'm the person who says, never mind, I'll just do it because I know how to do it and I don't want to take the time to teach you. So I think I was forced to grow during that time to say, I can't do it all.
Yeah.
Like, there's not enough hours in the day. There's not enough hours in the day. And so it taught me it's okay to let somebody else do it, and it's okay to let them fail forward.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to get it right the first time. And right isn't my way. Yeah. Which is...
You sure about that?
I'm not positive about that, and it even hurt me a little to say it out loud. But really, right is my way. And that's a lesson I'm still learning.
Yeah.
And that trickles over to our family. Me and my cleaning, the kids clean, and they clean their way. And if they could just learn that my way is the right way.
Yeah.
But I have learned. That it's a totally different segment. But I've definitely learned to allow people to grow themselves and to give them a challenge and not give them all the answers to it, and to let them grow into it.
It's hard.
It is.
And I think, we see it with our clients, right? It's cool to see when we have clients that never let go.
Right.
And then they do, and they realize, whoa, like, I should have did this years ago. And it's the same thing in art. And it's interesting, like, the same journey they're going through, we're actually, they don't know it a lot of times, but we're actually going through the same journeys. We're trying to also delegate. We're trying to grow, scale. And we have to go through the same, same journey they're going through. We have to know what is the value of our time, and understanding that, and then saying no to a lot of things.
It's saying no to things, and then it's also saying what is most important. And I'll go back to cleaning at our house because that comes up. But is it super important that there's not a single thing on the counter? Is that more important than hanging out with the kids?
For you, it is.
Well, for me, it is. But that's what I mean. Is sometimes you have to take a look. Like, does that matter right now? Right?
Yeah, you're speaking to yourself.
I know.
It's good. It's good. It's therapeutic.
Myself.
It's therapeutic for you.
I'm my own best therapist.
It's good. So yeah, I think year 2, apart from those 2 lessons, which was delegation. What was the other lesson?
separation.
Delegation, separation.
Well, separation of
we should make a song.
You could make a song out of everything.
I could,
but let's not.
Let's not do that on the show.
That's a different podcast.
Is it?
It's for kids or whatever. But separation.
I am a great I should do kids books or kids songs.
I know that's the next business venture.
Is that the next one? Okay.
You and Jimmy Fallon can side by side.
Awesome. I'd love to do that.
But I think separation of home and work, drawing a line there, where that is, and then delegating.
Yeah. And anybody out there, today that's running a business, if you're still at home and you're trying to manage the family and you're struggling, you probably need to start looking at ways to delegate. And that means delegation's the same. Hey, I got to delegate to a child care or a nanny or whatever, just to gain some peace of mind. Because I think it's like multitasking. It's impossible to multitask.
Right.
You can't.
You can do it. You just aren't good at it.
You're just not going to be good at anything. Yeah. Your work suffers, your parenting suffers, everything suffers. I mean, in our experience, that's what
That's scientifically proven, though.
No, it is.
I mean, that's actually, they've done studies and studies about multitasking, and it was a big thing in the 80s where it was highly regarded. And then I think they've now realized that whoever this is huge, it's the dumbest phrase, and I say it all the time. Specialists have decided, have done studies saying that you can't be good at 70 different things at the same time.
Yeah.
It's not, multitasking is not a true thing.
It's not.
I guess.
Yeah.
My wise words for today.
Is that your optimizing tip?
No, you're the optimizer.
Well, here's where we transition to the optimizing segment of our episode, where we share some tips, tricks, whatever we want to call it, to help optimize your life, your business, your relationships, and so on. So there's so many times if you're out there and you've always been, you have let's say you start your year off with, okay, I'm going to read X amount of books on these many topics because I want to get better, and whatever around self-development, and you just can't find the time, whether it's Audible or reading, a physical book. There's a great app out there called Blinkist, and I used to call it Blinklist, but it's because maybe I'm dyslexic. I mean, I just put words together and I just see things. So anyhow, Blinkist, and in essence, it will take, and there's many other apps. There's other apps out there that do this too, by the way, but this is just the one I use. But it will take a summary version of whatever book that you're trying to understand, read, and so on, and take the principles, extract the principles from the book, so you can you can understand them in minutes, rather than reading or listening 10 hours on an Audible book or reading 500 pages. You can get it done in a few minutes. So I highly recommend it if you're looking just to optimize your time and learn some things really fast. Blinkist is a great app to download and start using today.
Awesome.
That's what I think.
Good.
So with that said, I think year 2 we're gonna keep this going, right? Year 3, we're in year 3. We're going into year 4 now.
We're in year 4.
We're in year 4,
actually.
So there's a lot more. There's a lot more coming. We'll talk about year 3 in one of our upcoming episodes, where we're at, what we learned there, and hopefully the audience can take some little nuggets of tidbits of advice.
Or at least know you're not alone.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing I think we're learning.
Huge.
Is that there's so many people out there like us, and we're all challenged with the same things, growing and growing a business.
It's normal, and there's some peace in that, knowing that
there is for sure.
There's a bunch of other people out there crazy like us, and they're still trucking along at it. So here we are.
So wrap us up. Why don't you just take us home?
Just wrap it up.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you next time on Co-Founders.